Welcome, yokoso, and thank you for joining me tonight. We're going to be just doing a little bit of a just chatting kind of thing, and probably also some DuoLingo if I run out of things to talk about, which could easily happen. Morning Empty, how you doing? You're on your lunch break, right? I assume so. Oh, man. I'm just glad to finally get out of work, so this is maybe just kind of relaxing and stuff. Oh man, I haven't even had sake since we got back from vacation. So here's I have been sitting on this Momokawa sake for like probably a few weeks. I haven't even touched it. So it's Junmai Ginjo. We're gonna actually take a sip of it right now. So kanpai. Still good. Of course, I've never known a sake to go bad. Oh man, oh god, it's been busy. The my production schedule is like, well, my production schedule is not crazy. It's just that I totally screwed up on getting started on this dumb thing, and oh my god, now I'm paying for it. Like the project is due next week, and I'm not even like halfway done with the damn thing. Like that's the worst part. Like. See, this is also the thing too. I keep battling in my mind whether or not how much I want to talk about what I do. Mostly because, like, you know, okay, so this is kind of a weird thing. I don't know, Empty. But yeah, it is life free. I think everybody goes through it too, and it's like I'm not saying like, oh, you know, it's different, but it's. You know, it's the choice I made. I've been doing this now for 5 years where I've worked 2 full-time jobs. And, I mean, granted, one of them is working for myself, freelance, you know, as a voice actor. But, you know, it's still hard work. And it's still, like, you know, working from basically 10 a.m. until, well, technically it would be probably until about 3 a.m. my time. So that's like, you know, God, what is it? 10, 12... 15, 16 hours a day. So like by the time Friday hits, I am like starting to hit the wall. And if it wasn't for the fact I have to get up tomorrow at Saturday morning at 9 a.m., I'd end up sleeping until like about 11 a.m., 12 p.m., like noon. I'd be sleeping right through. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to be drinking, not drinking too much of the sake because it'll hit me. I've got my saltine crackers to keep my stomach full. So, but the funny thing was that like the one job I work as an interactive project manager. I could say that because like that's not going to get me doxxed, you know. And the funny thing too is there's a lot of VTubers out. I don't know how many, if there's a lot, but mostly it's they pop up on my Twitter feed and stuff. Any plan on the stream time? I guess it kind of all ties into that too, the whole work-life balance kind of thing. I think I'm going to keep the stream time the same for now. The only reason being is like one of the things I started saying, and before I diverted myself off, was that I'm behind on this project not because of streaming, but because I didn't start on the project quick enough. So I'm thinking that's the reason why I get behind as much as I do. And I've got to try to, whoa, there's my microphone. Excuse me. So I got to get that handled. If I get that unhandled, then me doing these streams like, you know, 2 hours a night, you know, 2, maybe 3 nights a week. Like it was fine doing Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but then I started, I don't know if I could honestly say probably procrastinating. You know, it's like starting a new project. It's like, you know, you're staring at a blank canvas and you don't want to make a mistake. So you end up talking yourself out of it and just, you know, there goes 3 days. In this case, it was almost like the whole stupid week almost I lost. And I'll tell you, when you're doing some of these projects, every bloody hour counts. And so basically, to answer your question again, I'm going to keep it the same for now. I may do some guerrilla streams at noon my time, Yeah, there's not spam bots in the streams for now, right, Dex? Right. Yeah. No. No, I don't have any. I haven't got. I've only had bots once, which I. The funny thing was, I was kind of excited about it. I'm like, oh hey, I got enough people that I attracted a bot. Sweet. But I don't have any bot monitoring the chat, and I haven't had any since. And that was, I think, was that during one of my Shifu streams, maybe? I know the hard part was I was dealing with frame rate issues and stuff because I was really pushing my notebook, what I was using a notebook at the time. I was pushing that thing to its limits. But now that I've got a built PC here, you know, things seem to be running a lot more smoothly. It's still not like, I'm not going to be like blazing the frame rates like crazy here. But it's a dedicated game. It's a rig now, and it's not like a notebook, so I'm not like having to deal with a mobile graphics card. So it allows me to focus on everything. But nope, so far no bots. I mean, eventually, if I do start getting any kind of traction and attract more subscribers, they'll eventually come. But I may have to decide whether I want to do live human mods or try to do that stupid Stream Elements bot again. I don't know. That thing is like twitchy as hell. Twitchy, I'm on YouTube. No, but I have yet to figure out if I get to program that stupid thing correctly, which is a shame. Because it probably could work. A lot of people I know, other streamers I know, use it. It's just, I don't know if I got the settings right or not. So I gotta test it a little bit more and see how it goes. But yeah. How's your day been going? I know you're on lunch break, so thankfully this is only gonna be like an hour stream. I only keep my chatting streams to like an hour or so, just because I don't want to force it to go any longer, and I'm still too much of an introvert to be able to handle a conversation for too long. So we'll probably end up ending at like 1 a.m. my time, which will be an hour for now. Oh man. I mean, are you like in a break, like sitting in a break room watching this, or like in a car or something, just kind of like getting, me personally, if I'm on a lunch break, I want to get the heck out of the building and just, either get outside, sit in a car, or go for a, I try not to spend money on my lunch, but sometimes I just got to go and buy like a taco or something, but I don't know what you have in Indonesia. I'm not sure. Because I know Indonesia is not a small country. It's pretty big from what I understand. At least from the Indonesian VTubers I watch, they say that it's not small at all, and I can totally believe it. Because like I know, I made the mistake once of thinking, when I was talking to my sister-in-law, who's from Amori Prefecture in Japan, I said, she was like, what would you want to do if you ever make it to when you get to Japan? Because she keeps pushing to get me to go, and I really want to. I said, well, I kind of want to see. Sorry, Dex, my line is a bit slow. No worries at all. No worries, Empty. No worries. Just feel free to respond whenever you can, and I'll jump right on it. But I made the mistake of saying to her, I said, well, I want to see Tokyo, obviously. I would like to see Akihabara, just at least have seen it. I would love to ride a Shinkansen to Osaka. I'd like to go to Kyoto. I really want to catch, like, one of the things I really want to catch is a sumo basho. I really want to catch, like, the Emperor's Cup, which means you're talking probably the end of Golden Week, which would be both a great and a frightening time to be there, probably, with how busy it gets. I got into Digimon trading card. Digimon? Wait, there's a card game for Digimon, really? Huh? I mean, I watched the cartoon when I was, younger. Let me see this here. Digimon TCG. There was a game that just got released on Steam, I saw, for Digimon. It surprised the heck out of me. Excuse me. I'm over 18. Digimon card game. Okay. Can't wait to hear about it. What particular? The new game or what that's coming out? Let me switch over here. Hang on. I'm just gonna switch over to this one here. Oh, I don't have. Oh crud! Do I not have my background music here? Let me get my BGM. There we go. Which one of these is the video capture? My trip. Oh, yeah. Let me get that for you. So, okay. I don't know how familiar you are with the United States. So I'm just getting this prepped for when I do DuoLingo or whatnot. Move it all the way back. There we go. So I left on a Wednesday, and on Wednesday, because I had some repair work to do around the house. I had to repair the deck, do a couple other things too. God, the deck was a long project anyway. I had to fix the railing, I had to replace the steps, and then I had to patch, put a tarp over the roof, one of the back roof, just until we can get it fixed at some point. So Monday and Tuesday was pretty much me working around the house, which was fine. Then Wednesday is when I finally left, and I drove down to Pennsylvania and stayed overnight there, just because I didn't want to do a long trip and have to rush, you know. And then by Thursday, got down to down to Virginia, which is where my relatives live. So wasn't staying with them. I was staying in a hotel, which was like, it's like a stone's throw away from them, which is really nice. It's like, I think the hotel chain is a loft, and I swear it's like IKEA decided to open a hotel chain, because it feels very much like that Swedish minimalist design and stuff. The rooms are cool, and they have a lot of integrations. Like the TV can show your reservation and stuff, which is cool. So I got there early enough, and I told my family, I said, don't feel like you have to entertain me. You know, we said we would meet on a Friday and Saturday. We'll do that, and then I'm heading back Sunday. So we did that. I got there, and I grabbed some dinner nearby and just relaxed, and probably for the first time actually got a full night. I'll tell you, it's hilarious. When you're used to 4 hours of sleep a night, getting 8 hours of sleep, you feel weird after it. Like I woke up, I think I went to bed for the first time in like probably a couple years at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And normally I'm going to bed, and I have to understand, normally I'm going to bed at like about 4:30 a.m. So already things were weird for me. And then I woke up at like 10, and I had not ever had I haven't had sleep more than 4 hours. So getting like 6-7 hours of sleep really was like, threw me off for the day. And I was starting to get that through the week. So it's a blessing and a curse, because I'll tell you, the first week, because it wasn't last week, it was the week before. Yeah. I can feel you, man. Yeah. The worst part is when you get used to that sleep schedule, and then you do something to break it, especially for me doing it like 5-6 days that week, you know. Oh my goodness gracious. Going back to suddenly having to do 4 hours. Oh. The first Monday back was brutal. I was fighting falling asleep. And I don't know if I did a stream that night. I might have been stupid and did a stream that night. Like probably trying to force myself to stay awake. Oh god, let me see. I gotta pull up the channel here. But it was the whole trip was fun, because I really was just doing it to get down there and see them again. And no, it was last week was the first week back. Okay, so Monday was Labor Day, so I had that off from my night job, and I took that off from my VO work. So really Tuesday was the first day back. So I probably did a stream on Tuesday, I think. Let me double check here really quick. Yeah. Yeah, I was doing Oh, was it the medieval dynasty? Was that the first one? Okay. Um, yeah, I just wanted to see them again because this was the family, and I've mentioned them on a couple streams, where my sister-in-law is from Amori Prefecture. So I really wanted to see them because I swear to God, I cannot sometimes tell if I'm getting legitimate Japanese food until I go down and see her, and it's like, there it is. Oh man, she does yakitori that's really good. Yakisoba. Last time I visited, she did like enough yakisoba that I could bring back like 5 meals, and it was so good. Oh my goodness gracious, I love her yakisoba. And she also did miso soup. But the thing too, she did some like American they made pizza, handmade pizza, which was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good, but I was so pumped to try to get some actual Japanese food, and I'm like, oh, pizza, okay, cool, no, all right, I'll roll with it. And then the next night we had they had pork chops, they had chashu, and miso soup, and I think they did ramen. Yeah, yes. Oh my god, it was so good. But the best part too. God, what do I call her? I think last stream I called her Chisato. I'll keep up with that name. So Chisato, okay. I don't know if you've heard the stories or not, and I probably should do a short because it's a fun story and I love it. She's the one that got me drunk for the first time in my life. She did, and it was 5 years ago, I think, when I visited her. I was on my way back from Disney World, and I stopped by, and I had gotten a hotel, same hotel I stayed at this time, and I said, okay, I'm coming back up on a Friday. I gotta leave on a Saturday because then I can have Sunday to relax and recover from the vacation. And I didn't leave Disney until like 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So already I was behind the gun on the schedule. And from Disney to Virginia, you're talking like 6-7 hours. She did. Holy cow. I'll tell you, I'll get to it. It's amazing. So already I was pulling into their place, the hotel actually more like around probably 8 o'clock at night, and got over to their place by like 8:30. And they were quickly throwing stuff on the grill to cook. They had hot dogs. I don't remember everything, but it was just basically grill fare, which was fine. And that was going to be it for how much time I was spending with them, just until we got tired and went back to the hotel, and then I'd leave the next day. So she wasn't happy about that. Oh, Chisato was not happy about that. She was having none of it. From the time I got there and we started, and she kept saying, Dex-san, can you stay? Can you stay another? You sure you can't stay another day? And I kept saying, I really got to get back. I've got, Sunday off, and then I got to go back to work on Monday, and it's exhausting. And she said, oh, okay. And then like 30 minutes have passed. She goes, are you sure you can't stay another? Like, I'm pretty. I would love to, but I don't think I can. So we had dinner, we ate, and then she's this lady is. She knows me so well, and it's frightening. She knows I love sake. Oh my god, as much as I don't, because like it's not like I'm an I don't drink a lot. I drink like on these occasional streams here, but I'll have like, and I'm drinking like a regular sake cup, like nothing crazy. So I don't remember the full size of this little glass cup here. But I drink those. I don't drink them in like a big cup or anything, like a big, mug or glass or something like that. And then, so I'm trying to drink very, 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 very responsibly, because the stuff I drink is usually imported. Thankfully, I found a liquor store nearby that actually gets imported sake from Japan. I'm like, oh, thank you, because there is a difference. But anyway, she's like, you have to. She goes, do you like sake? She knew I did, but I'm like, I said, I do. And her and her husband, they actually do. They brew their own beer, so they do some microbrewery stuff. And he and her husband was like, here's a beer, we brew it. I'm like, cool. So I drank. It was great. And he's like, I hate to have you test this, Dex, but he pulls out this bottle. He says, "We tried brewing our own sake." I'm like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Dude, I'm only going to give you a little bit." So he pours me a little bit of a glass. He's like, "Do not drink this fast." I'm like, "Really? Okay." So I take a sip, take a little bit, and oh my God, it was like drinking gasoline. It burned all the way down, and it hit. I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, yeah, it's like rock good. I'm like, dude, this is like moonshine. Like, oh my God, dude, you could knock somebody out with this stuff. He's like, yeah. He's like, it was a bad batch, but I thought you'd like to try it. I'm like, thanks, man. And I don't know if he was actually in on it with her. But then Chisato goes, okay, now that you got the bad stuff, how about this? She walks over and she pulls out this big bottle. I don't remember it because it was much bigger than the 750 milliliter. This was like and I saw it and I'm like, oh my God, I recognized it. It was the Country Squire. Oh, and it's a sake that's brewed in Amore Prefecture. And I had it once with her. She brought it to my house like years ago. And she's like, I thought you liked sake. So she brought this and it was from her home. And it was a special reserve. So it's a Junmai Daiginjo and special reserve no less. So they only make, 10, 20,000 bottles of this particular batch. And they do not export it. I have tried. You cannot get this exported. They have a regular one that you can get, but it's not the special reserve. And only allow one bottle per family per year of this stuff. So she brings the bottle out, and I'm like, oh, is that? I'm like, is that? And she's like, yeah, yes, it is. I'm like, oh my God, you brought it. She's because Chisato takes their daughters to Japan, and they're there for like half a year. They're at least 4 months. They live there. They live back there because then she can visit her family and stuff, and the kids go to school there. So she picks up all this stuff and brings it back, and she busts the bottle out. Then this is back. And she goes, before you go, we gotta have a drink. And I'm like, you absolutely know I'm gonna drink some sake. Not realizing your buddy Dex here was basically signing his own, signing his life to alcohol, And so she starts to pour. And I understand. I've studied Japanese culture for a long time. Not saying I'm an expert by any stretch, but a lot of the social things I've learned. Because I'm very concerned with doing it the right way. And it's like you always pour, you always refill the other person's glass. And you typically drink the first one, kanpai, you drink it down, and then you sip after that. And if somebody's cup goes empty, you say, would you like more? And you pour it. You have to, and I try to make sure to even hold it the right way, where the label is up, my hand, the proper hand placement, and you pour, and then all that stuff. So she knew this. And so she's like, okay, so she pours me the glass, and it was not, she actually had the sake classes, if I remember correctly. She did it the right way. But it wasn't the box, it wasn't the wooden box one, but it was like the regular, like I've got right here, this little glass cup. I can't remember the name for it. So she pours me, we go kanpai, all her husband, me, we were there. So the three of us tip back, we drink. All right, great. I'm like, oh, this is good. It was so smooth. It was so crisp. Like I think it's a semi-dry, and it's just so good. It's my favorite. It is really my favorite sake. And I'm like, this is amazing. She's like, you want more? I'm like, yeah. Give me another glass. So she gives me another glass, and I try and sip. And her husband's like, he drinks like one or two more, and he's like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. So he goes over with the daughters and with their daughters and stuff, and I'm there with Chisato, and we start talking, and she's like, would you like more? I'm like, sure. And of course I fill her glass and I drink it. I think I'm 6 cups in, not paying 100% attention, mind you, because you have to understand, up to this point, I have never gotten drunk in my entire life. Literally never got drunk. So I never knew what my limit was. Didn't realize the signs. And she's like, would you like more? I'm like, yes. And I think her husband said she probably wasn't drinking much at all. She was just waiting. And I remember at some point I lost complete track of the time. Everything went kind of not fuzzy, but time no longer meant anything. But I will tell you this. I will tell you this right now. I know the whole thing was planned because I remember this clear as day. And I still joke with her about it today. She goes to me and she looks at me and says, "Now, Dex, are you sure you can't stay another night? We can put you upstairs. Are you sure?" And I go, "Oh yeah, sure. I love to stay another night. Absolutely. I love spending time with you guys. I would love." She's like, "Now, are you going to remember this in the morning?" And I'm like, "Yes, I absolutely remember this in the morning. Absolutely. I will stay another night." And she goes, "Good." And she got up and went to bed. And I think I finished the glass and boom, I was out. I literally passed out drunk on their floor. And I think I threw up on their carpet. I felt so horrible after it. Her husband had to get me up, and he got cleaned up. He let me go to the bathroom. And by the time I finally came back to more conscious, he helped me walk back to the hotel. Oh man, to this day we still joke about it. And I literally, like, when we go to some family get-togethers, I literally go, I kind of quietly applaud her, say, "You played me so well." And she just gives me this smirk. And I'm like, "You little stinker, you knew it." But I absolutely adore them. They're so fun. She didn't do it this time because I was staying 2 days. So she absolutely, like Yosemite, drank the kitsune under the table. Like, you have to understand, years ago, I was a lot heavier. I know I was a much heavier guy than I am now. And this tiny little 120-pound Japanese woman blitzed a guy who was 200 plus, drank him under the table, not even a thing. I laugh about it, and I can't hold anything against her. I absolutely love them, and I could never have any bad things about them. It was just, I still tell people, I'm like, you know what? I'm impressed. She knew exactly how to play me. I'm now wise to it, and I'm not going to let myself get into that again. But man, I deserved it. I absolutely deserved it. But so she had this country squire again this time, but thankfully we only had like about 2 cups of it. But they had this, and I don't remember. I did not take a photo of it. Wish I did. She had this sake that I do not know she didn't even know what the flavor was supposed to be. But it was one of those fruit infused sakes. It was pink. I thought for sure it was like a cherry blossom, but the aftertaste was like grapefruit. Maybe it was like a pink grapefruit. I don't know, but it was very tart, it wasn't bad. And the funny thing was, she drinks, she's like, oh, this is bad. She's like, oh, I don't know. And she takes another drink. She's like, yeah, okay. And then she finishes the glass and pours some. I'm like, give me another one. So I think I had 2 or 3 glasses of that, and I'm like, it's bad, isn't it? She's like, I don't know. And she drinks another one. Like, it's clearly not bad enough for you to drink about 4 or 5 glasses of this stuff. And then the best part was her husband goes, because he's got when I visited them way back from Disney, they had just moved into the house that they're living in now. And so I was like their first house guest. And they had no bed. So I literally was sleeping futon style. Thankfully I didn't have a hangover. I apparently handled alcohol really well. And the good thing was I also found out I'm a happy drunk, which, I can accept that. I'm happy with that. It just sucked that she took my sister-in-law to getting me drunk to find that out. But anyway, so obviously their house was way more furnished this time. Where was I going with it? Oh yeah, we were just. She had a couple different sakes, but I went into his office and I was surprised. He had Suntory whiskey, and I did not realize that he actually drank like some of the more hard liquor. And I'll tell you, I've tried hard liquor, and I'm not a big fan of it. I've tried whiskey, bourbon, scotch. it just doesn't appeal to me. You know, I'm a sake guy. I don't mind wine. I don't mind wine, and I will drink beer if there's nothing really available. I am very particular about the beer I drink too. I only drink either Asahi, Sapporo, or Kirin Ichiban. Kirin Ichiban I prefer if it's on tap, not from the bottle. Sapporo is okay from the bottle, but so what was it, the other one? God, what was the other one? Sapporo, Kirin Ichiban, and the other, I can't remember the other name of the other one, escapes me right now, but that one I'll drink for the bottle too. Sapporo is like my third favorite of the 3 beers, so it's like, it's good, but it just doesn't, it's like, I know it's not meant to be, but it's kind of like it seems to me like almost like the working man's beer kind of thing like that, which is fine. I just like the flavor of the Kirin Ichiban, or the Asahi, that's right. I like the flavor a little bit more of those. I seem to be in the minority when I talk to people about it. They're like, "You like that, dude? I'm a Sapporo guy." I'm like, "Okay, fine, whatever." Like, I'm not complaining. But I've never liked the hard liquor. So when I saw he had Santori, I'm like, "Dude, you drink Santori?" And the only reason I recognize the name Santori is literally from the movie Lost in Translation with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. I love that movie, and it's a lot of people say it's a wonderful love letter to Tokyo. If you haven't watched it, it's a good movie. It's in English, but the Japanese characters do speak, from what I understand, legitimate Japanese, because they filmed on location in Japan, in Tokyo. And it's a really great story. I loved it. But Bill Murray's character, he's almost kind of like playing himself, really, where he's an actor who has been asked to go to Japan and film TV commercials for Santori whiskey. And his line the entire movie is, "It's Santori time." Yeah. And every time the director will come over and say, "Please excuse me, I apologize, but could you change it a little bit?" And he goes, "It's Santori time." And it was like so subtle difference. It's just funny. But that's how I recognize Santori. And so I was like, "Dude, you drink Santori?" And he's like, "I don't mind it. It's okay. It's not bad." It's like, and he poured me a glass where he's like, "Wait," and I tried. I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not a hard liquor." Turns out Chisato apparently likes the hard liquor too. I'm like, I looked at her, I'm like, "Are you trying to tell me my sister-in-law has got a drinking problem?" She's like, no, not like that at all. I'm like, "Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, you managed to drink drink the big Kitsune under the table, and you don't have a drinking problem. All right, I'm cool with that. Fine, we'll roll with it." Oh man, it was a blast though, and I love their daughters are funny too, because like the whole trip, I was so nervous because I've been working on my Japanese, and up where I live, I don't have anybody around here that speaks Japanese, so I don't have the chance to use it practically. All I can do is do Duolingo. I do the exactly Oji-san Dex. Yes, I wanted them to say Oji-san for something, but they never did. Their daughters did not call me Oji-san. I was like, come on. But I was so scared to use Japanese because I don't want to use it wrong, I do not want to say. I remember one time when her husband was bringing her to visit the family and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, he's like, I was telling her about you," and I'm like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, I was telling her that there's only one person in our family who loves Japan and is learning Japanese and learning the history and stuff." And I was talking about it. I'm like, "Oh, really? Cool." And she's like, "Yeah." And I talked to her. I told her. She's like, "Well, what do you love? Why do you study Japanese?" And I'm like, "Well, I won't go into detail. There's history about it, but I love the culture. I love learning the history. I love the Sengoku period, And she's like, "Really?" I'm like, Yeah. I love studying about Nobunaga Oda, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu. We want to respect their culture. Exactly. Absolutely. If I was to go to Indonesia, I'd try to do the same thing, Like, if I go to Mexico, any country, oh my, another divergent. I'm going to try to remember to come back to this one. I don't know if you saw, I don't know how much YouTube you watch aside from like YouTube streamers, but there was one guy and for the life of me, I'm blanking on his name. He was just arrogant. Logan Paul, I think it was. I saw response videos to this guy in Japan acting like the most biggest ass. And I hate to use the term. I hate to use the word. I don't like using word language like that. But this guy deserved it. He was an ass. He was garbage to people in Japan. Like, just running around like a 5-year-old child, dressed like an idiot, just treating people like just like it's even worse than like those people that will harass the geisha and the maiko, while they're just on their way to work, trying to take picture, please. It's like he was just acting like I saw it. I almost blew a gasket. I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? You're going to this is not America. You shouldn't even be acting like this way in your own damn country. But you go to Japan, you go any other country you go to. I don't care if it's France, I don't care if it's Germany, I don't care if it's Indonesia, I don't care if it's Mexico, I don't care if it's Australia, Japan, China. You go there, you are a guest. You are a representative of the damn country you're coming from, and you better represent it, Learn the culture. Learn at least how to not act like an ass and make them think, this is just a typical, whatever country you're from. But oh my God, And then the worst part is these are a lot of streamers that live in Japan. They're gaikokujin who live there, who've lived there for 10 years or have been, and all of them were saying he's literally just this one asshole has literally just pushed back the work we've been doing for 5 years, because now all these people are just saying, yep, that proves it. That proves it. Gaikokujin are like that. And oh my God, I just do not understand how people can go to other countries. And I know it's not just Americans. I know it's not. Every country has its jerks. Every country does. Every country has its problems. Every country has. So it's like you can't say, oh, Canada is this amazing country, and if I live there, it's gonna be great. Canada has its own problems, just like the United States does, just like Mexico, just like Venezuela, or Brazil, or Portugal, or Spain, or I don't know if there's other states or countries in Indonesia. I apologize. I should, because I've been watching a whole lot of Indonesian VTubers, and you'd think I would try to learn this. And I'm sorry. Empty that I don't know that, but for crying out loud, you should at least take the time to learn. You watch Abroad in Japan? Yes, I do too. Abroad in Japan, Chris Broad, freaking amazing channel. Have you ever watched Tokyo Lens? Tokyo Lens is another one. I'm gonna pull it up because this guy deserves it too. I actually Tokyo Lens, yeah. Oh, is he married? So, Tokyo Lens here is... I'm going to jump to his YouTube channel. He's another guy that lives in Japan. He is primarily a shamisen player. But he does these really beautiful photography, these videos, kind of like Chris Broad. I would say Chris Broad does it way better. Not to say that Tokyo Lens is bad at it. It's just... Chris Broad he's really pushes it, the quality. I think he even just did recently an anniversary stream where people asked him, like, are you trying to be a documentarian for like the BBC or something like that? He's like, no, I just really take pride in my work, and it shows. But Tokyo Lens, absolutely. Ooh, no. Well, just to kind of give you an experiment here. Look at these shots. Beautiful staging, the depth of field.
Good morning from the Kiso Valley, specifically from the Naka Center.
This is the guy who primarily does Tokyo Lens, and I'll get off the poor guy because I don't want to leave him on that. But the reason why I watch his channel a lot is because he gives another great perspective that Chris Broad does, especially now that Chris Broad does really from Iron Mouse. Okay. Did she interviewed him, didn't she, on her at Speak of the Devil, right? I think she did. Let me Speak of the Devil. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Iron Mouse. That's what I want. Did she do... Okay, Lord Athelstan, Ike Handy, Ike Evelyn, False ID. The False ID one. Oh, my God. Have you watched that one? Oh, my God. The one with False ID. It was our second episode. Oh, it was perfect. He just took over the whole show. He just took it over. And the poor girl, she was like, fine. Oh, yeah, she did. Okay, yeah. I interviewed myself, a.k.a. Chris Broad. Okay. Cosplayer and voice actress Jessa Nigiri. Speak of the Iron Mouse interviews World's Strongest. Wait, so did she or didn't she? Do you watch much anime? Have you learned any Japanese? Can't you recommend? I thought... Oh, maybe this is Chris Broad saying he did. Okay. Yeah, man. Oh my God. Her, yeah, I don't catch a lot of her show. I really wish I did. But I watched the Crazy Ali one, False ID. This was the first one I watched of it, and I just laughed my butt off. I gotta get the Chris Broad one. I really have to do that. I'm not a huge fan of Lord Athelstan. He's got some good music, but I don't know. He just doesn't appeal to me. Snuffy is okay, but yeah. So Tokyo Lens talked about, and I think Chris Broad talked about him. There's another one. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Gaijin Goomba. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Gaijin Goomba. Divorce. Oh no, nope. I'm gonna skip that because I don't want to deal. That sucks because he's a really nice guy. So this is Gaijin Goomba. I've found out about him from Game Theory, Film Theory, which is Matt Pat. He did a whole VOD specifically. Oh, Shogo. Let's have Shogo, wonderful guy. He's from Kyoto. Great channel. Offers a lot of great perspectives from a Japanese perspective, which I love. It's awesome. The YouTubers called out again. No, where is the... Yeah, here. What he did... Oh, yeah. You can just see right there. I felt the same way. Oh, it's... Yeah, Logan Paul. Yeah. That right there. Yeah. This... Like, when I talked about it to people I know around here, they're like, what are you talking about? Who the heck is Logan Paul? I'm like, you are lucky you don't know who Logan Paul is. But, man, that guy... I really just kind of wanted to punch him when I saw that. But anyway... yeah, I want to split the color. Okay, so there's a tangent. I always love the fact people can give me spider webbing real easy. I was sad that kind of getting back to the trip. I was sad that their daughters didn't call me Oji-san a little bit, but you know, I watch a lot of these channels and stuff to kind of pick up on the stuff that you don't get from, like, obviously like Duolingo or these other lesson programs, because they're trying to help you get the gist of the language and sentence structure and stuff like that, and the culture and stuff you're kind of expected to learn on your own. But I've always found learning the culture has helped me with the language, because it hits different. Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. And it's, you know, when you see people acting like that, I've kind of gotten to the point now where I just don't get ticked off about it anymore, because it's like, yeah, over the last few years, I've seen way too many people being stupid and idiot, and, you know, it's like, now I kind of expect it. But, you know, I kind of wonder, you know, and one of the cool things about visiting them was it gave me a chance to kind of get this tiny little exposure to Japan without going over there, because, and this is kind of the cool thing too, even though their daughters didn't call me Oji-san, which is fine, they were hitting me with, like, their youngest goes, you know, Uncle Dex, do you want to read one of my manga? I'm like, sure, yeah, absolutely, I love manga. So she brings over one of the My Hero Academia ones, all in kana. And she's like, it's no English. I'm like, let me take a look at this. So she sits there, she's watching me, and I'm reading, and I'm looking through, and I'm like, okay. And I recognize the hiragana. Hiragana I've got pretty well. The dakuon I'm still working on. And then there's the other set too. of the hiragana. The katakana, that is become, and actually I can look it up right here. Ever since Duolingo added this, I'm like, thank you guys. The combos, that's right. Ka, kya, kyuko. Okay, yeah. So, so I'm sitting there, and of course I'd get to a kanji, and I'm like, yeah, no. The worst part too is there are some kanji that I'm like, wait, no, I recognize this one. Like jitensha. Okay, I know that's a couple kanji, and I'm like, kaze. Kaze is one that I kind of I can recognize. Obviously because it's wind, but it's used, if I remember correctly, in one of the words for either writing or letter or paper or something like that. The kanji or something like that. And so when I see them, that's the thing. I'm like, oh, I recognize this. I know this. It's and of course I'm freeze, and she was watching me going, yeah, and I'm like, I ain't got it. She goes, and then she would say that's what I'm like, okay, cool. And then I could keep on going. The katakana though, the funny thing was all three of them, all of them were like, I hate katakana. Like, I do too. Why the heck did they have to? I mean, I get it. It's for foreign words. I get it. But why is it following a completely different, like, why is it that it's not following the same rules as hiragana? Like, oh my goodness. But it was just hilarious hearing them say, their oldest daughter, she had to do some tests or whatever. She had to take some tests, and she had to write in Japanese, and she had to write. She showed me the homework too, and I was like, oh my god, okay. And she didn't do that great on it or something like that. But she's like, I hate katakana. And her youngest sister, yeah, katakana is stupid. I'm like, yeah, yes it is, it is. But you got to learn it. And they're like, well, Uncle, that's how much are you planning on learning, And I'm like, have you ever heard of the JLPT? And they're like, kinda. I'm like, okay, well, it's the Japanese language proficiency test. And I told them, my goal is to get to the N2 rank, at least. I would love to hit N1, but you have to learn over 10,000 kanji in order to pass the JLPT N1. And you can't take N1 without doing N2 or N3, N4, so. And they're like, oh my god. I'm like, yeah, I want to be able to get to that point where I can express myself. So it was one of those things where I was extremely nervous about using any Japanese around them because, like we said, it's like we want to respect the culture. I mean, we don't want to embarrass them either, but I also didn't want to look like an idiot. But there was one example, and I could it felt like, I think things were vastly different this time because Chisato was using a ton of Japanese around me, and she didn't seem like she was even aware she was doing it, but she was just that comfortable speaking to me in Japanese, and it was like, it made me feel really cool. It made me feel really good because I'm like, clearly I'm saying enough that she feels like I can understand her in the language, and I may not be able to reply in complete sentences or have all of the thoughts and the emotions I have to express, but I can at least say, mochiron, or genki desu, or hai, so desu ne, some short responses that help her to understand. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. But like I was sitting at the dinner at their island, and we were eating dinner, and I remember I was like, screw it, I'm going for it. There was this bottle, this little squeeze tube on the table, and it was orange. It had an orange lid, and I didn't know what it was. But I know that her husband, he was using it. He was putting it in his soy sauce, and he was, mixing it with a hashi. And I looked at it, and I'm like, this is interesting. Okay, what? So I go, what do I call him? Ken. I'll call him Ken. So I go, orange bottle, not an orange bottle, but it's a tube. It was a tube of some paste with an orange cap. So I really didn't want to say orange botoru, because I wasn't 100% sure if botoru was the right word, but I wanted to know what it was, but I didn't want to ask in English. So I looked at him and I said, Ken-san, and he goes, hi, And I go, "Sorry wa nan desu ka?" And he looks at me as "Nani?" Because I really wasn't. I'm like, crap. Like, oh, how do I do this? So and I'm like, very quickly, I'm like, okay, I just learned in Duolingo the word orange. So I said, orange desu and orange desu. And at the point, he's like, sa. And he picks up, he's like, and he said in English, he said, it's a hot mustard. I'm like, oh, sweet. So of course I put some in my soy sauce, and I'm like, oh, this stuff's good, like really good. But that right there, that moment that I asked him a question, he asked me back, and I was able to actually say something, and he understood what I was saying. I'm like, son of a gun, yes. First time I was able to speak in a language and get understood. Wasn't able to say everything. I wasn't able to say, oh yeah, what's that orange? What's that bottle over here with the squeeze bottle with the orange lid? What are you using to eat? What is that you're eating? I couldn't say all that. I could have said, tabe, sore wa nan tabemasu, or something like that. No, maska. But the fact that I was able to do that made me so excited and so happy. And I could see on Chisaro's face, she was kind of like really like bright and she was excited. And I kind of feel for her because the entire family, nobody speaks Japanese except for her husband, obviously. And nobody wants to. Nobody has an interest. I'm literally the only one in the entire family that, is studying Japanese, is trying to learn the shamisen, which blew her mind. She's like, you're doing what? I'm like, yeah, I want to learn the shamisen, the tsuguru shamisen. And so I actually, which ties back into Tokyo Lens really quickly, parallel. Tokyo Lens, the guy here, he actually manages a shamisen, these two shamisen ladies who play together. They're Kiki is the name of the band, name of the group, I should say. And the cool thing was they actually released a practice shamisen, which is what I bought. It was like a $300 shamisen, which it's not performance, it's practice, specifically practice. But it gives me the chance to practice the bachi technique, to try to practice and hitting the set, this ni to string, without hitting the other three. So it gets the job done, and I was able to import it. But I didn't know about this until this guy, and here's the cool thing too. I messaged him. I did a DM to him, and I said, hey, I went to find this other shamisen that he recommended on an older channel, on an older VOD, but nothing came through. And he actually responded back, and he said, hey, yeah, check out Kiki. Here's the website. They recommend it. They love it. And I'm like, they actually tested it and verified that it's good. And I'm like, oh, sweet. And it was really cool that he actually took the time to respond back, and say, yeah, here, take a look, because he's very much an evangelist for tsuguru shamisen. He plays it 3 hours a day. He's competed. And, just like all of us who are like, trying to get into it, it's like you really want to spread the culture, you want to spread the music, because it's not a widely known instrument. And, so I feel for Chisaro because, like, she speaks English really well, but she still has a very thick, the thick Japanese accent that comes through. She doesn't have a full-on Omori Prefecture accent, because she told me, like, that even when she goes back there and she, visits her family, she has some neighbors nearby. She's like, I can't understand a word they say. I just go, I'm like, wow, okay. It must be like the Scottish Highlands or something like that, where it's like, you hear go, oh, give me the good, and you're just like, yeah, okay, sure, yep, nope, you're right. So being able to talk to them and even getting what little bit across in Japanese is awesome. And so that was the first night. And I had dinner with them, and we hung out for quite a while, went back to the hotel, slept. The next day we were like, okay, this was the day I was getting ready to leave. And they're like, well, do you want to do something before you go? I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely. And like, well, how about we go to this cavern in Virginia? It's like, it was about a 30-45 minute drive And it was kind of in the right direction. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So we went to the caverns. It's a big landmark. Tourists stop. Luray Caverns. And I was like, I've been there once before, sure. So I said we drove separate vehicles, and I got there. They weren't there yet, so I had to wait. Went in the gift shop. And they got there. I didn't see a text message from them, but they had already gotten in line to get tickets. So I checked my phone. I'm like, oh crap, they're here already. And he's like, Ken, he replies to me. He's like, dude, just come online. We're getting, just join us in line, no problem. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I leave the gift shop, walk over there, go in line, and I feel kind of weird because like I don't like cutting in line, but I also want to be with my family. So I move up, and I start talking to Chisato, and all of a sudden behind me, this goes, "Hey, are you cutting in line?" And he's got the look on his face like, "Are you kidding me?" And I just kind of turned to him. I said, "I'm getting with my family who was here ahead of me." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And apparently that was okay. He was still kind of upset or something like that. But I'm like, dude, I'm one person, me and my family. Oh my God. I thought Chisato was going to go off on this guy. She turned around. Like, she was like, you ain't messing with my family. And she just goes, she doesn't say anything to him, thankfully. I kind of diffused everything. But she just looks at me, she just starts going off in Japanese. I was trying to have a heart, because she was full speed. And I'm catching it here and there. The word I kept hearing over and over again was baka. I'm like, yeah, I know the word baka. I used it way too much. And she is just like complaining and calling me. I said, I said, so this, like, I kind of understood. She was calling him baka. She was calling his friends baka. I'm like, wow, I have not seen her pissed off like this before. But it was just hilarious. And I was like, the funny thing was, I was kind of like, it's cool that you feel like you can actually talk to me at full speed in Japanese, and you're kind of cool with it. So, but after that, then we did the tour. We went through, had a blast, all of the family, and then got in the car. We actually went to dinner. We weren't going to spend too much time, and because I was driving back all the way, home, which was going to be 7 hour drive. And we're like, well, let's grab some dinner. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll grab some dinner. So we were gonna stay right around in the town nearby, and I went ahead, got to the town, and I'm like, oh crap, the pizza place we're going is like packed. Like there's a 30-45 minute wait. So I messaged him. I said, dude, but 45-minute wait. Do we want to wait? Because like it's getting late. He's like, well, there's another place. So we go to this other place. Food's good. We eat. I didn't leave until like finally separated, said goodbye and stuff until like about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And I'm like, well, I ain't getting home until like 1-2 a.m. And of course it downpours on the way. Oh my goodness. And it was in the mountains when I was driving back. I'm like, oh, I hate driving in the night, in the rain. But got home safe. Loved it. It was a fun time. So long story, it was a blast. I had fun. I had the chance to use way more Japanese than I thought I would, and I was so happy about that. And, gave Chisato a little little reminder that there's people in the family that are learning and maybe can someday talk to her at full speed. I would love to. I would have loved to have contributed to that one-sided rage fest that she was having. Because the words I'm picking, I'm like, oh, I heard kuso. I'm like, she's. I'm like, really? I did not think you were like this. I didn't say that to her because I'm like, I don't want her to get pissed off at me. But I'm like, man, I have never heard her go off. And I was like, this is awesome. This is so cool. I don't know why I was so tickled with it, but yeah. So overall, good trip. I was happy with it. Got back, had the Monday to relax because that was a Labor Day in the U.S. here, so it was a day off from work. Got the chance to sleep in a bit, and then got back. And God, it took me 2 or 3 days to get back on the sleep schedule again. But yeah, it was fun. Oh man. Oh, so yeah, I would say it was a really, really good trip. I enjoyed it. And for me, it was more like I was just happy to be able to eat some decent Japanese, some really good miso, some good chashu, enjoy some sake with somebody that I know appreciates some good sake. and got to hear my sister-in-law rage in Japanese, which was so cool for some reason. I loved it. Oh man. Oh, one more glass. It's 1 o'clock. I know you got to get back. Your lunch break is probably wrapping up. Empty. And speaking of empty, I think I may be emptying my bottle here. How's the PC? You know, it was. It's actually going really good. I was getting used to like hearing the fans of the notebook. These, I was shocked. Like the fans are on right now, and I can barely hear them at all, which is nice. Because I eventually want to do some ASMR content. Although from what I've been hearing from some of the ASMR artists who are VTubers, YouTube is like not having a lot of it. I don't know, so I might not do it. I don't know. But I obviously wanted a computer that's quiet. But this one here, I recently did the Medieval Dynasty. The notebook that I was using, which it's a MacBook Pro. It's about still has technical support, so it's like about probably 2.5, 3 years old. I had it boot camped with Windows 10, so it runs at full. It basically runs at full speed. But again, it's a notebook, and without running the streaming software, it runs games great. Medieval Dynasty runs really beautifully on it. Skyrim handles Skyrim really well. Sims 4 handles Shifu really well. But the moment I put on OBS for streaming, it was like, nope, I cannot handle this. So that's when we got to the point where I had to like cut the frame rates down. This thing here, I was able to kick everything up, maybe not to ultra high, but I was able to get like a step down and have all the settings turned on, and the stream was not choppy at all. So was not expecting to spend all that money at one time. But I got to thinking on the trip, and I'm like, well, before I left, the logic board and the processor came, and the case. And I'm like, well, you know, I'll wait a month and then buy another. No, it was a graphics card and the logic board and the case. I hadn't ordered the processor yet. But I got to thinking about it. I'm like, well, crap, if I wait a month and there's a defect in these things, the 30-day warranty is going to be gone. I'm like, crud. So I was like, well, screw it. I'll just have to bite the bullet. And I ended up buying the other parts. And thankfully, they came pretty quick. And it took me... it took me a little over longer than I wanted to. I thought I would have it done for like the first stream, and nope, it did not. I needed to take a day off. I needed to take a day to fix it, to get it going. But I'm happy with it. It's going really well. Do I watch my own video back? Yeah, I do, but not like the whole stream. So I will watch like I went back to my channel, and you know, so I went to the channel, like the shorts I saw, but these ones I had I actually contracted another VTuber, Beaky B, who does video editing. She did these for me. But I went back and I rewatched the Dose of Dad jokes with your. These were not streamed though, so that was all on the PC. The debut I watched. I watched it several times, and I was like, oh man, that's not great. The Disney Afternoon ones were okay because these are more 2-bit. I'm sorry, 2D. But when I started watching let's just say when I started watching the Shifu ones, oh, I was cringe. That's what really was pushing me to say I need to get a new system. Even Raft, one game that I love the most, like the fact I had to turn shadows off, I had to turn off the ocean textures, all this stuff. I'm like, I just didn't like I just did not like the experience I was giving for that. And the Sekiro ones, like these were the first streams I did, and holy cow! I mean, the quality was just garbage from Sekiro. And the fact that I had to remove some streams because of the fact that YouTube didn't even work with it. And I don't know if that's because I was just pushing the computer too hard and it just was not handling it, which is probably was the case. But I've now determined I'm going to go back and I'm going to play Sekiro again, now that I've got a dedicated rig to see how it handles it. But yeah, I do watch them back because I also want to. I'm trying to get into the habit of making VODs, and I have not done. I really suck at. It's a time constraint thing, but I really want to get more shorts. I really want to go back, and I think I mentioned it on. I've done a couple polls on Twitter. Do VODs like the dose of dad jokes. A couple people actually commented they love these. They thought it was funny. But YouTube loves and adores shorts and VODs. Streams not so much because the algorithm doesn't know what to do with it. But VODs, that's exactly what YouTube was built for. So the algorithm knows what to do with this stuff and can market you and promote you. This isn't a lot. 28 views is not a lot, but at the time, this was huge. I had never had most everything right around that time was like 5 views, 4 views, 7 views. 12 was actually high for a while. It wasn't until the shorts that I had 104 views. I was like, oh my god, and then 2.3K. I was like, oh, holy cow, really? And I was surprised. I really was expecting this one to do better, but this one, man, this just took off because I think people like when you actually talk about things before they were common, like, this VOD. I got a lot of comments on it. People saying, not a lot comparatively. So this is the stuff I really have to start doing if I really want to grow the channel. And this new rig here is like step 1 in that process, because now I can actually turn it into the recording rig, the VOD production rig, and the gaming rig, and not put my poor notebook through hell trying to just run all this stuff. So I would ask you, is there anything in particular I should look for? Like, do you think they're not great? Do you think there's anything I need to improve? Because I know for a fact there's got to be stuff that I need to improve. Absolutely. So I'm just not sure what. Like, the worst part too, there was a stream, and I don't remember which one it was. It was it a raft one? And it was the medieval game audio? I must have missed something. Are you talking about the one where it was really loud and then I dropped? Because the medieval one is with the new rig, and I'm still kind of experimenting with the balances, so I might. Where is it? Oh, it's in the videos. I'm gonna have to review one of these. Is there a particular one like this one, or I'm gonna have to? Yeah, I'll double check through them, because if I should look for the game audio, I'll double check that. Because the funny thing is, this rig seems to handle audio slightly different than my notebook, which I was not expecting, because it's the same audio interface. I bought a specific audio interface for the streaming here. I got a PreSonus Studio 24, and I've got my travel rig microphone that I use if I go on vacations. I take this with me. So this is my Studio VO1A microphone. That stayed the same, but man, like this, I don't know if it's good or bad, but this rig handles audio a little bit differently. Like, it seems to, I think it picks up the audio more, or at least can process it more. Was it really? Like, how is my voice right now? Because in OBS I've got this set up to the max right now, and I'm kind of hitting into the yellow, the -20, -15 dB, which is, I think, good, but normal. Okay. This, yeah, the overhead mic, I think I tweaked this. It was either this one or this one. I started tweaking it to try to get the balance right. But I'll double check the 3 of them just to make sure. But if this is normal, then I'm gonna probably lock the audio for the overhead now. It's probably just I need to just cut the audio down a little bit more. Which again is funny because on the notebook I had to crank it up. So like right now I have this not that you can see the interface, but like my mic, my overhead mic I'm talking to is like up at the top, whereas the audio capture is like halfway down. But on the PC and the notebook, I had to have it almost 3/4 of the way up. So I've had to do a lot of changes recently to get used to the new settings on the computer. So yeah, I would not be surprised if there's something, but I thought I got that. I'll double check. No worries, Empty. I was expecting it. You have a good night. And what is it? Was it Salma Pagati? Oh crap! Sorry, I had it and I just totally forgot. Hang on, I got it somewhere. Crap. I was gonna make sure to say goodnight to you, man. Oh crap! Where is it? Crud. Well, either way, Empty, have a good night and have a good weekend too. If I don't get the chance to see you, I'm gonna try to get some more Bahasan down because I really want to get some of that. Hopefully next time I'll be able to say hello and good night to you. But I'm also gonna wrap it up too because it's after 1. I've got some work to do until 3 a.m. Oh my god. But anybody else popping in? Obviously no DuoLingo tonight, which is I wasn't sure. I'm really glad that the conversation was able to go. So I thank you if you happen to actually watch this and you enjoyed the stories and stuff. I'm gonna try to see if I can start getting some damn VODs, just so I can kind of promote myself a little better. But if you do have any comments, if you do have any ideas, please hit me up. Like I was trying to say to Empty, I had a new subscriber, which I think was Nisha, and they came on and they said, oh, my girlfriend loves your content. And the next question should have been for me. Oh yeah, what content? And I never asked. So I don't know. So if you like anything, please let me know on Twitter. Let me know in the comments. I really want to grow. I really want to get better at this. And if you find I ramble too much, let me know. If you think what games I should play better, if I don't talk enough, too much, let me know. So please, I'm not gonna say like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you like what I do, great. If not, I get it. Just give me some good feedback that might help. So take care, everyone. Konbanwa, oyasumi nasai, and how was it? Sama Pragati. I'm gonna butcher it. I'm not gonna embarrass myself this way. But everyone have a good night. Have a good rest of your weekend. Take care, and I will see you guys Tuesday next week. Bye. Salamat malam. That's it. I remembered. Sorry. I just remembered and I had to say it. Salamat malam. Have a good night.